Everyone, I'm 𝐏𝐿𝐵e from the work department. I'm going to be facilitating this first part really quickly before we hand it over to Tracy. I have Fatima and Denise from the work department on here with me. Denise is going to be sharing the presentation. Fatima is going to be note taking, so kind of in the background there. But we are pleased to be here with you today. And we, the work department is a design and strategy studio, and we are just consultants that are helping to produce this series. So thank you for joining us. This is the fourth in our 5-part virtual series on public space programming. It's a learning series that's designed to help organizations provide spaces and activities for Detroiters to stay active during every season. Today we have Tracy Jackson from the city of Detroit, and she's going to share all about the permitting process. And then we'll save time at the end to discuss any questions you have about the process and about your experience. And Tracy's going to break it all down for us. So in previous sessions, we've heard from folks from Clark Park Coalition, Belle Isle Conservancy, Chandler Park Conservancy, and the People for Palmer Park on various subjects. All of those recordings of the past sessions are on the website, pistons.com, Let's Play Training. And we'll put that in the chat for you. But if you registered for this, you probably know where it is. But a lot of great resources there if you haven't visited in a minute. And today's session will be recorded and posted there as well shortly. The next session is on November 8th. And so save the date for that. That's going to be a good one. We'll be joined by 𝐒𝐿𝐵e, Director of Public Spaces at Rocket Community Fund, and Matthew Schmidt, who's program manager at Michigan Community Resources. And they're going to be talking about how to get your projects funded. A lot of really useful practical information will be on that one as well. I'm really excited about it. So join that one and tell folks about that one. And then we're going to have an in-person event on the 13th of November, and it'll be at the Pistons Performance Center. Breakfast will be provided. And we'll have a guest speaker, and we'll be offering one-on-one application assistance for this amazing grant program, mini grant program that the Pistons Foundation will be opening applications for soon. It's to support public space activations. So all of you will probably have great ideas for this. The application is going to be very short, very accessible. We're going to send it out to everyone who's registered for the series once it's live. Applications are due December 6th, so keep that date in mind. And the grants will be announced before the end of the year. So they're going to be around $1,000 to $5,000. And there's a great FAQ on the Pistons site right now. If you have a few minutes, take a look at that. Might be able to answer a few questions about that program. And let's see. Before Tracy presents, I'm just going to introduce Alana Glass, who's here with us, and she is representing Project Play of Southeast Michigan. She's the director. She's going to say a few words about our sponsors and partners. Alana.
Thank you, Libby, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us live, and thank you to those who are also listening to this recording. On behalf of the Detroit Pistons Foundation, the William Davidson Foundation, and the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation are our lead sponsors, as well as Project Play, City of Detroit, the work department, who really has put the muscle behind this project, and the Detroit Parks Coalition. We just thank you for coming. The Detroit Pistons Foundation this past summer held a summer-long parks program where multiple sports and play and physical activities were held at local parks throughout the city of Detroit. And the Pistons Foundation developed this training series because they want to really empower community organizations that are based in the city of Detroit that are working to bring physical activity and opportunities for arts and play and culture in public spaces throughout the city. So we're so excited that you've joined us. And again, thank you to the sponsors, and I will pass it back to you, Libby.
Thank you. Thanks, Alana. All right. I'm going to hand it over now to Tracy. And let's see. Tracy, are you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
All right, I'm gonna turn my camera off, focus on Tracy. Y'all are welcome to keep yours on. And you can put questions in the chat while Tracy's speaking. We're gonna save a little time, like I said, at the end to answer all of those. And we promise to get through all of those in the chat if we don't get to them right away. And yeah, take it away, Tracy.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I hope everyone is bundled up and ready for this Michigan weather. I love Michigan, but I don't like the cold. So I am excited to be here with you all tonight and to share my knowledge with you. And I will answer as many questions as I possibly can. And I will definitely make sure that each of you have my phone number and contact information so that you can contact me afterwards if you have additional questions. So presently I'm the manager of operations, and prior to that, I was the recreation and activities coordinator. And prior to that, I was the reservation and events coordinator. And part of my job was making sure that I was able to get information out to organizations about permitting processes in the city of Detroit, and how actually really easy it is to get through the process. It's just that a lot of people don't know where to start and how to start and who they need to talk to. So I'm here to clear some of that up this evening. So first and foremost, if you are planning to do an event of some sort, whether it be small or on a larger scale, in any of our green spaces, open spaces, and parks, you would need to get a permit. Not all permits have a cost to them. Some of them are completely and totally free. And the only reason that we ask you to go through the permitting process is to make sure that you're not going to bump heads with another organization that may be having some other type of event in that same space. So permitting is pretty easy, as I said, and we permit all of our open spaces and parks from fields, baseball, football, soccer, cricket, volleyball, to our shelters where you have a covered space with tables and seating underneath, to just green space where you might just want to pop up a tent or just have a family picnic with no tents, or have some inflatables out for the kids to jump around on. We also do permitting for vendors who want to come into our parks with their food trucks or just with their smaller carts to sell food items. We do permits for all types of things in our parks. And the one thing that we don't do is allow people to sell regular merchandise. So if it's not food, so we don't allow people to come in and sell shirts and things like that, unless they're a part of a larger event. So Hart Plaza is under our umbrella, Spirit Plaza is under our umbrella, as well as the over 300 parks and green spaces that we have in the city. So we have a COVID plan, of course. It is on our website. Anybody can take a look at it. It's a COVID safety playbook. It's light reading. It's not very long, but it does give you some good information. And because COVID safety protocols change so often, we try to update that as regularly as possible. So you might click on it and it might be like, oh, this is old. Yeah, it might be a little old, but we are also trying to stay as safe as we possibly can in all of our parks. So we figure the safer, the better. You may have some safety protocols that go beyond what we have, but this is just to get you started. I know that a lot of you don't know about all of our parks. You may know about our parks that are in your neighborhoods, but like I said, we have over 300 parks in our repertoire. We also have the historic Fort Wayne, which is a historic site down in Southwest Detroit that used to actually be a real fort, and you can actually go out there and visit it. during the day. We have someone out there that can, take you around on tours and things like that. And it's a beautiful space to have events. It's right off the river. You can see the water. It's gorgeous. So I just want to also state that, we can't always guarantee that you will be able to have the type of event when you want to have it, and that the weather is going to be beautiful. We can never guarantee that. However, we will work with you to the best of our ability to make sure that you have a successful event as close to the date and time that you want. And we are all going to hope for beautiful weather for the days that you intend to have your events. Some events are smaller than others. We have smaller events where you might have 10 to 20 people and you're just having a small little grill with a little cookout and have hot dogs and chips and something to drink, and you're throwing a frisbee around, or, you're just mingling. Those are what we call regular non-sponsored, non-paid events. And again, we still want those to be permitted so that we make sure we're not permitting another larger event on top of you when you've, asked for that space first. Then we have our medium-sized events, which may be a family reunion or a birthday party where you're going to have some tents up, maybe 50 to 100 people. And then might have some inflatables or some other things that may require some cost. And again, those are usually easy to approve, and you pay your $30 for your tent, for each tent, and your $30 for each inflatable, and you move forward and you receive your permit. Those are pretty easy as well. Well, we run into a lot of people that have issues getting through the process is our larger scale events. Those are the walks and the rallies and the events that have over 200 or so people, and you're going to have major things out there, stages and tents, and you need streets blocked off, and you might need a fire hydrant turned on to have water fill up certain items or whatever it may be. Those events require additional permitting, not just through the recreation department, but also through other departments, whether it be fire, water, buildings and safety, or other departments in the city. So when you need that type of permit, that is pushed up to the special events committee for the entire city. And there's someone from each department on that committee, and your event is still able to get approved. It still doesn't take a whole lot of time. We just need to make sure that all of the other departments know that you're having an event and are aware that you're going to be in a certain space at a certain time, and we're all able to help you have a successful event. So moving forward from the safety protocol and the COVID protocol, we want to make sure that each event has a permit plan. So a program plan for your event, an event plan. And part of that is going through our application. So the event and programming application is the most important application that's on this list, and everybody will need this application. Each and every one of you, if you're planning to do an event in any one of our parks, you will need this application. This is the application that shows us what type of event you're having. It gets us prepared to know if you're going to incur a cost, if you need to get additional permits, if you're going to have anything that we deem necessary to move up the higher chain to make sure that you get approved by other departments. So this application is the most important application there is. There are a lot of parts in this application that may not apply to you, and that's okay. They don't apply to you. You could just move past them. If it's a required question and it still doesn't apply to you, just make sure that you type something in that area so that you're able to submit your application. You can type in "does not apply to my event." You can type in a 0. You can type in "no." Please call me. Whatever you may want to type into that area, you can type into that area. If you can pull up that application for me, Denise.
Yes, just one moment.
Thank you.
Switch screens here.
Yes. All right. So as you can see in the first part of the application, it's just asking for, some basic contact information, an email address, a mobile number, your actual organization address, just basic information, then some basic event information, like when are you trying to have your event? Are you trying to use a shelter? Do you plan on having tents erected? Is there a company erecting the tents? Do you plan on having inflatables? Description of the shelter you're thinking about using. And then it asks you to describe the type of event you're having. So there's a drop down. Is it exhibition? Is it a concert, a parade, a picnic, a race, a rally, reunion, run, skate, sports competition, walk, other? You can select from any of those. And then it asks you to describe your event in detail. And so a lot of people just put, oh, it's just a family picnic. Well, your family picnic may be different than my family picnic. I have a huge family, and our family picnics turn into this big to-do, and then your family picnic may be 20 people. And, so just to say, it's just a family picnic, it's not really enough. You need to make sure that you put in there the anticipated number of attendees, and it lists there after that you list the number of attendees as well. And then it gives you a link for you to look at the epidemic orders that are updated that tells you, hey, we can't have more than this many people in the space or whatever. And then it says, please provide details on how you will collect your actual event attendance. Like, do you have a check-in kiosk, or do you have someone with the clipboard that's checking people in, or is it not necessary because it's just a small family picnic? So you can just type in there, it's not necessary, it's just a small family picnic with 30 people. We at the max, we will get 50 people. And you can just type that in there, because if you can see, there's a red star there. And so that means that it's a required question. So you have to type something in there. And if you skip past it, it'll turn red like that and it say this field is required. So it kind of gives you, warnings. Then you ask for your organization name. It says leave blank if it's not hosted by an organization, but it's required. So you can't kind of leave it blank. You have to put something in there. Just put not an organization if you're not an organization. Do you need a map to be a route to be mapped out? Is it open to the public? Is it your first year? So all of these questions are really easy to answer, and that's why we put them down there to be required. If it's a fundraiser, you click yes. If it's not, you click no. And then it says, please provide a site plan. So if you're just having a small picnic, you can just type in that box, no site plan is needed, small family picnic. It's just, those are the types of things that will hold your application up. Like if you leave it blank because you won't be able to submit it, or, you say something like, I don't have a site plan. Well, you might not, but just say, don't need one, small family picnic. And we don't always require a site plan. If we're going to require one from you, when we go through your application and something red flags us to say, what is this site plan? We'll call you and ask you about it. Are you planning to set up a stage? Will the event involve shared items like basketballs or yoga mats, arts and crafts materials, things like that? And that's all about, some of these questions have been added here because of COVID. So if you're sharing items like basketball and stuff, then basketballs and yoga mats, we'll be asking you, how do you plan to sterilize those items if they're being shared by a lot of people? Then it asks if you will provide security for this event. You can select yes or no. That's easy. If you don't need a security plan because it's your family, you don't worry about it. If it's yes and you have a company that's providing the security, just put the company name and their telephone number there. And then we ask you for a cleanup plan. And we ask you for this because a lot of our parks, because we have so many parks and we have a very small grounds unit that has to come and clean up all of the parks around the entire city. We ask you, like, what's your cleanup plan? We know that we don't expect you to, take your garbage, back with you, but we do expect you to say, okay, we're going to have everyone do a cleanup for the hour after our event ends. We're going to take all the bags, tie them up, and put them at the trash can so that they're easy to get to for those crews that come by to clean up the parks. Will you provide food and beverage? Most events you do, some you don't, but and will there be souvenirs, trophies, and or gifts associated with this event? Not that we're being nosy, but we just need to know what all the things that you're going to have in your event, so that if people say, well, hey, were they giving out trophies? I don't know. If I didn't ask you, I don't know. So that's one of the things we ask. Is it going to be broadcast on television and radio? Because that gives us a sense of how many people are actually going to be there. Sometimes you might think, oh, it's only 100 people going to show up, but you put it on television and you say we're giving out free A, B, C, and D. 100 turns into 500 very easy. So those are the reasons why we ask those questions. And then it just says, by checking this box, I'm authorizing that I did everything on this form correctly. Yep, I agree. And then you can have a copy of your responses sent to you. If you click that box, it'll ask you to enter your email address or the email address where you want the responses sent to, and it will send those responses to the email, and then you submit. If your application does not actually submit the very first time, it's probably because you missed something up higher and it'll turn red, and you'll be able to see that you need to answer those questions before you can move on. And again, if it's something that doesn't apply, just type doesn't apply or click the no or whatever it may be so that you can move forward and submit your application. So again, like I said, this is the most important application. Our fees are very, very low. You'll all need that application. If there's a fee associated with your event, that fee would be, if you have a tent, it's $30 for each tent. If you have inflatables, it's $30 for each inflatable. Our shelters are between $75 and $100 for the shelter, and that's for all day. These prices are for all day. We do not permit where you get it from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and then somebody comes in at 2:30 and they get it from 2:30 to 5:30. We don't permit like that. We give you a permit, your permit is for all day. Though we do suggest that if you are looking for a specific green space, or if you're getting a specific shelter, that you have someone there from your organization as early as 10 a.m. if your event does not start till later. We ask that you have someone there by 10 a.m. because there are a lot of people, like all of you said, you have never done any permits with the city before. And there are a lot of people who have not done permits with the city before. So they just think, oh, it's first come, first serve. If I get here first, it's my shelter, it's my space. However, if you're permitted for that space or that shelter, it's not first come, first serve. It's, this is my space and my shelter, so you have to move. So we ask that you do that so that people are moving or can move earlier and find another space, instead of your event starting at 5 and they've been there all day, with their family. And now at 5 o'clock, you're telling them, okay, you got to move. So we just ask that you have someone get there as early as 10 a.m. If you're having a special event, and those special events include events that have more than 250 people, that are walks, runs, rallies, concerts, things like that. Those are $750 for 4 hours. And then they're $1,500 if you're doing more than 4 hours. And that's, again, for the whole entire day. On top of that, we make sure that your area is secured. You have additional trash cans. You have special attention paid to the particular area where you are going to be having your event. You have the special events coordinator or the reservations and events coordinator who will be there to assist you during the setup and breakdown, and during the entire event. They will be there for you at your particular site that you select. So that dollar amount includes a lot more. It also includes, you don't have to pay the separate tent fees and inflatable fees. All of that is encompassed in that $750 to $1,500. So you don't pay those extra fees for the tents and the inflatables. All of that is included in that price. And so it would depend on the size of the event and the hours. You may incur some additional fees if you're one of those larger events that require significant assistance from other departments. So that's what those costs are. Again, we don't deny many events. The only reason that your event would be denied is if it's something that has to be bounced up to the next level and you can't meet the requirements of some of the other departments. And then we try to help you meet those requirements and try to work through them and work them out so that you can continue to move forward with your event. The other thing is if you try to book on the same day that someone else already has something booked. And at that point, we don't really just say, oh, you're denied, get out of here. You know, we say, okay, well, this day is booked. Can we move this day? Can you do the day before, the day after? Can we move it to the next week? And we try to work with you. Or can you move it to another park and keep the same day? We try to work with you so that you're able to continue to move forward with your event. We don't just like, oh, you're denied, oh, you're denied, oh, you're denied. We want everybody to use our parks and we want everybody to get their events approved, and we work with you. We're not sticklers for, we need the money right now, today, and there's no other way, or it's over. We don't do that. We like, okay, you need some time to make a payment. You can make some payment plans. We'll work with you. We're trying to work with everybody because we want everyone to enjoy our parks. That's what they're there for. I mean, we get them all nice and pretty, and we've been putting all of these dollars into remodeling all of the parks. We want people to utilize them. We want them to enjoy them. That's why we did all the remodeling and, you know, getting them up to code. And, you know, we don't want the parks to be there to hurt anybody. We want them to be there to help everybody, and we want everybody to enjoy them. So I hope that some of this information helps each of you. And I guess, because what time is it? Oh, it's only 6:35. Do I have more time, or do we want to start with questions? Does anybody have any questions thus far?
You do have more time.
Oh, okay.
If you want, yeah.
So I do have, let me see. I'm trying to get my mouse to do what I wanted to do here. Okay. So part of the things that I was talking about was like the application. So we have automated our application process, which is amazing. I was part of automating that process, and I was so excited. So it used to take us about 32 days to respond to customers and say, oh yeah, you can have your event, because we would have to go through every application manually and look over it. And we call back and forth and call this person and that person and get this person to sign it and this person to sign it and this person to sign off on it. And then it's like, okay, we will mail you a letter in the mail. It would take you so many days to get it. And, you know, it was just crazy. And so one of the tasks that I was charged with was trying to make this process more efficient. And so I gathered a team together and we talked about how we can do some things. And we first started out by cutting out the number of people who had to approve something. I don't need my director to say, yes, somebody can have a picnic with 15 people. I should be able to say, yes, somebody can have a picnic with 15 people. Should not have to go to my director and sit on his desk for a week because he has a pile of stuff that he has to get to that's more important than a picnic for a few people. So we started with that, and we moved forward, and we asked that you give us at least 60 days prior to your event, so that if there are any snafus, we can work through them before your event date is upon us. We say that it takes about 21 business days. It doesn't take that long, but sometimes it does. So we have to put the longest amount of time that it would take. So the longest amount of time that it would take is 21 days. If you were to turn in an application tomorrow for an event that's 60 days out and it's just a picnic with 15 people, you would almost immediately get a response within 24 hours to say, yes, you're approved. You don't have any tents. You're not using a shelter. You don't have any inflatables. It's just going to be you, the grill, a couple trees, and 10 family members. Absolutely, you're approved. Have your picnic. And you'll get that immediately in an email. We get it. We look at it. We say, yep, click the button. It sends you an email. So we've gotten to the point where we've automated the process down to a science almost. We're getting good, and we're still working on it and making it better as we go along. So when there are smaller events, you'll get quick response. When the events are a little larger, just be prepared to, work with us and wait a little bit longer. But what we do ask you is that if you have been waiting for a few weeks and you haven't heard anything, please give our team a call, because sometimes things slip through the cracks because the two events come in at the same time. They're in the same place. It'll deny one immediately and go forward with the other one. And sometimes it's just, we need to look at it because it'll be somewhere like Palmer Park, for instance, or Chandler Park. Those parks are huge. And just because they came in on the same day, it'll just automatically deny one, came in on the same day for the same day, it'll deny one of them when both events could actually happen on the same day at the same time, because those parks are so large. So, but the computer doesn't realize that. It's just like, nope, they butt heads, one has to go. So if you don't hear anything right away, please reach out to our team. We'll work through it, we'll find it, we'll figure it out, and we'll work with you, because that's what it's all about. Like I said, everybody using our parks. If we get something that, and it's inside of the 60 days, because it's kind of a rush thing, we can't guarantee that we can actually get to it and do it, because we can't push you in front of everybody else because your event is coming up first, because we have to do them in the order in which we receive them. So we can't rush your event just because it comes up before somebody else's, that's already in the queue. So just keep that in mind. Like the slide says, we review each request as it comes in, and the decisions are provided within 21 days. We talked about the fees, and then you may need, depending on the type of event that you're having, you may need some liability insurance. If you're doing a walk or a run, if you're going to have inflatables, things like that, we want to make sure that you're insured. That insurance protects not just us, but it also protects you. So we want to make sure that you're protected as well, because this is the day of lawsuits. I'm sure you all know that. If something happens to somebody, they're automatically like, I'm suing. So we have to make sure that we're protected in our parks and that your organization is protected. So it's not just for us, it's for your protection as well. We talked about the epidemic orders already a little bit. So what's the next slide, Denise? Talked about that. Okay. We talked about the program plan a little bit. If you have a plan or if you have a question about if you can do something specific in the park and the application didn't address it. Like we have a lot of people that call that say, well, hey, I want to have, one of those little cart driven trains, for my son or daughter at the park for their birthday. We do permit those, but we do have people that ask questions that are not necessarily on the application. So if you have a question about something that's not on the application, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team. And we talked about it. I talked about it last week, and I talked about it a little earlier with the team that's here. We freely and openly give out our cell phone numbers all the time, because we know that when you're having an event, your event might not be happening during business hours. It may be after business hours. It may be on the weekend. And if you call the office, you're not going to get anyone. So you can't get your questions answered. You can't get any help. And so that's why we give out our cell phone numbers. Not only are they city issued, but we would give them out anyway, because we know that when you need help, you need help. And calling the office to leave a voicemail is not going to help you during your event. So we want to make sure that you get the help that you need. I joked about it earlier that sometimes I'm on vacation. I can be in Florida and my phone will ring and I'm like, "Hi, this is Tracy." And my husband is like, "Really? We're in Florida. You're answering the work phone." "Yeah, I am. Somebody needs help, so I have to answer." I do that all the time. And so don't hesitate to call us if you need some help for your event. Let me see. So this is some of our contact information here. This is the general contact information, but I'm also going to give you all my cell phone number, so feel free to write it down. Again, my name is Tracy, and my cell phone number is 313-407-8440. And then the other young lady who has one of my former titles, she is the Reservation and Events Coordinator. Her name is Grace Wembley. And her phone number is 313-720-5432. And so you can call Grace, you can call myself. Either one of us would be willing to help you if you have any questions or concerns about what you're trying to do, what you can do, what you can't do. If you're having an issue with your event, or if you're needing some information about, hey, can you tell me of an inflatable company I can call? We can, get you a list of some names and numbers for you to call, or tent companies or things like that, because we want you to use reputable companies, because we don't want you to be out there at your event waiting on tent company XYZ to bring some tents and they never show up. And you've paid them this money, you've got the liability insurance, and then they don't show up. And we don't have any way to assist you or help you because we don't know who XYZ is. And the same with inflatable companies. So we will definitely help you find the companies that we've worked with in the past and that we know are solid companies. Those are our Facebook, our Instagram, and Twitter are up there. You can always check out our pages to see what we have going on as well. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I skipped a couple of slides only because I was trying to get to your phone number while you were talking about it. But you did have some more information here, so let me just try to find it.
Okay, so I know one of them was the reopening checklist. And yes, because we are just now starting to, reopen our parks and, have permitting, there's a checklist that we give out to people just to, look to see, things to look for and, things to check for. And if you're concerned about something or you have a question, a lot of things are here about PPE and COVID protocols and, risk levels and, what you should do if it rains and, just like so many things, guidance for organizations with MOUs with the city. So we have a lot of companies that we work with that we have memorandum of understandings with Detroit PAL and Eagle Sports and those types of organizations where they partner with us to use our fields and our parks regularly for their programming. And we have things that they have to, adhere to, and we make them aware when an organization like yours is going to be in the area doing an event, and we try to make sure that you all have contact with someone on their staff too, because they may know of some things in the park more readily than we might, because they're out there more regularly than we are, so they can give you some additional information. COVID preparedness plan elements. I mean, it's a lot of information, but it's all very, very good information for you to take a look at, for you to read through. It'll help you maybe planning for your event, especially when you want to explain policies to your attendees that may be coming. Like they may ask, well, why do I need to wear a mask? Or, you know, we're outside, why do I need to wear a mask? And you can say, well, city policy states that, you know, A, B, C, D, E, and because we're having this many people, we're not gonna, and we're in this small space, we're not gonna be able to do the 6 feet apart or the 3 feet apart, or because we're doing an event where we have shared materials, these are the protocols that we have to follow according to the city in order for us to get our permit. So we have to follow these guidelines. And, you know, it will help you when explaining to, like I said, your attendees of the things that you may have to do, you know, that you haven't had to do in the past. And it's all about just keeping everybody safe. I'm not pro-vaccination, I'm not anti-vaccination, I'm pro-safe and pro-life and pro-people living. So I don't want anybody to get sick. I don't want anybody to get injured or hurt or anything like that in any of our parks, at any event that you're giving. I want everybody to be as safe as possible. I just, you know, it's just who I am. I want everybody to be happy and healthy and living their life, whatever life they choose to live. I want them to live it. And so I just want to make sure that you all have the information that you need so that you can pass it along to the attendees to your events and your coworkers and patrons and funders or whatever it may be, so that everyone knows this is why you're doing the things that you're doing to move your event forward.
Casey, there's a few questions in the chat while you were speaking. First of all, does the city put any signage up when a space is reserved? Like, how do other folks know if they just happen upon a, you know, picnic table or a shelter or something if there's a party there later?
So in the past year, we have been trying to work out a system where we have a staff. We this past summer, we had some park rangers, and they were a security detail that were able to go around and, you know, let people know that this shelter is reserved. Are you the person that reserved this shelter? Can I see your permit, please? You know, those types of things. And so we are working on a way to actually tag a space or a shelter to let people know that it is reserved. But because this summer we were so short-staffed, because we are still right now calling people back to work. And so because we were so short-staffed this summer, it was difficult for us to put something in place, but we are working presently to make sure that we have something in place for this spring and this summer, so that there is a sign there, you know, whether it's staked in the grass or, you know, hung up on the shelter to say this shelter is reserved for the day. You know, if you have any questions, please, you know, scan this QR code and call the number or whatever. Or if you are interested in renting this shelter another day, scan this QR code, whatever. So we are working on that. We've been going through it and trying to work through all the loopholes, because we know that there'll still be a way that a person will be like, yeah, I'm gonna go here anyway. And so we're trying to figure out how to fine tune that process, but we are working on it. Absolutely.
That's great. The other question you ended up answering while you were speaking, and Jerry had a question about recommended vendors, but to follow up on that, do you have like a one-pager, or do you have a way that someone could access like a list of recommended partners or vendors that you all use?
So yes, we do have a one pager. The only reason why I didn't add it to it is because we update that one pager regularly. And so who's on it now may not be on it next week. You know, and because those vendors have to send us in all of their documents, their license and their insurance and all of that. And so when that insurance and license and things like that expire, they come off the list. And that's not to say that they're a bad vendor. It's just that your stuff is expired. We need you to send it back in. So, but yes, so whenever you are planning to have an event, you can ask us for that recommended vendors list and we will send it over to you.
Awesome. Anybody else, feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand or put a question in the chat, but any other questions for Tracy?
And so I'm so looking forward to you all having your events in the park. I'm excited. And Arts and Scraps, I love you guys. We just got like 2,000 kits from you guys that we're picking up on Saturday. Oh, you know about those, eh? We'll be getting probably about 600 more for Christmas. Just to let you know. But,
That's wonderful. That's really fabulous to hear. We worked with the Parks and Rec department this summer at your summer camps, and we had just a really great time.
Yes, and that's how we got back in touch with you all, because we used to work with you all several years ago, and then you all came and worked with us this summer, and I was like, yes, Arts and Scraps, that's perfect. We can use it for Halloween. So it was just really good. So I'm glad to be working back with you guys again. So
this is off topic, but what are the kids for, and what were the summer camps about?
So the kits that we just got for Halloween, they're little like craft kits, and we're doing drive-through Halloween this year. So they're coming to, we have 3 sites that they're coming to. And so we're not just giving them candy, we're giving them arts kits and activity kits and games. And so they'll be going to, you know, each trunk and each table, and they'll be getting something different at each one. So we just want them to have something to do, plus have some candy. You gotta do something for the candy. And you do some crafts and do some games, and then you eat a little candy. So yeah, so we're just giving them out to everybody that comes. It's free, doesn't cost anything. We're just giving them away.
That's great.
And then the summer camps, we had camps this summer. We usually have camps at 10 to 11 of our sites. Because we were still in COVID and our centers were not open, we wanted to do something to have something for some kids to do where parents could still kind of go to work this summer. And so we had day camps that were almost 100% outdoors. And so we had to have a lot of things for them to do and be active and sit at, tables outside. So we worked with Arts and Scraps and a lot of other organizations to have activities for them to do at 4 locations. They were at Adams Butzel, Patton, Palmer Park, and Baldock. And it turned out really, really, really well. I think it was like $300 a kid or something like that for 6 weeks of programming. And they were able to be there from like 8 or 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, Monday through Friday. And that fee covered the whole 6 weeks. So, it's dirt cheap when you think about it. And somebody watching your kids all day for 6 weeks for $300, like, sure, absolutely. Yeah. And then we had all of our staff trained through the Youth Development Resource Center, and it was just awesome. And so our staff and the kids were not used to kind of being outdoors all day. They're used to going to the camps where they were indoors most of the day, and they would go outside to play for a couple of hours a day. Well, so we had to get really creative. So we, under some trees and under some tents and, kind of come out the sun, but we still outside, type of thing. So, so working with Arts and Scraps and some of the other great organizations was amazing this summer.
That's cool. Yeah, thanks for all of this, Tracy. Any other questions? I'm interested in knowing, is there any special events coming up in the winter time that you know of that we should be looking forward to?
So absolutely, we are currently, we're planning two big events. The first one is Breakfast with Santa. That one will be at Adams Bustle and at Patton. They're going to be inside and outside. We are doing, and depending on, hopefully the numbers start going back down. And we'll be able to do more inside, but if they stay where they are or go up anymore, it's going to be more outdoors. It'll be, instead of breakfast with Santa, it'll be breakfast from Santa. Santa will be handing you the breakfast in your car and like, Merry Christmas, and here's your gift and here's your breakfast. So we don't want to do that. We want to do, let's sit down and have breakfast with Santa, where Santa is on the stage and he's eating breakfast with Mrs. Claus, and everybody's in the room with him eating breakfast with him. But we have both scenarios going side by side, so we're planning for both just in case. So we don't know what we will have to do. So hopefully we'll be able to move forward with breakfast with Santa instead of breakfast from Santa. Nice. And then in February, we are doing Winterfest, and it'll be like a big winter festival, snowshoeing. And I keep doing, every time I say snow, it's like, and some of the, what they call it, the cross country skiing and that type of thing, and s'mores and winter activities and ice sculpting and all this other kind of good stuff.
Cool.
So we are planning for that as well. And then we are hopefully we will be partnering with the Red Wings to do some hockey stuff at our hockey arena, which is at Adams Bustle. It's the Jack Adams Arena. So we are working with the Red Wings to try to get some things, hockey in the D kind of going, to get kids, introduce them to hockey. We're working with them already, and we're working with the street hockey in the D, and, to get them, acclimated to rules of hockey. And then we're doing a learn to skate program with them, and then putting them on the ice and teaching them some actual ice hockey. So just trying to get more people from Detroit and kids from Detroit interested in hockey. We have this wonderful hockey team here, and it's always kids from all over everywhere else coming here to, play hockey. And we don't have a whole lot of Detroit teams. So we want to, kind of expand hockey here as well. And then keep up with our Facebook page. We're doing some soccer clinics, some indoor soccer and things. We had a magnificent fall soccer league with about 1,200 kids. And so we are, trying to keep those kids interested and, keep them ready to go for soccer. So they'll be ready for spring soccer. So we're gonna have some soccer clinics, and you guys can look for those. And even if your kids didn't play fall soccer, they're welcome to come to those clinics. Those clinics are usually free. So if you know of any kids that are interested, just, send them towards our Facebook page. It'll all be there.
That's great.
Facebook, but it's on all of the pages. I just don't, those other ones, I have them. My son tells me I have them, but I don't know. I don't know how to use them. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. No, that's really awesome. Thank you for walking us through all of this. Tori, I just saw from Arts and Scraps, just had to step out. But unless anybody else has any other questions, I think that was really informative. Thank you for all of these links. We will have all of these resources up on the Let's Play Pistons.com Let's Play training URL shortly, so folks can reference that in the future. Yeah, and thank you all for taking the time to join us. Thanks.
No problem. You guys don't forget to call if you have any questions.
I'm sure we'll be calling you soon, Tracy. All right.
right.
Take care. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Tracy.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.